So joining me today is Jamil Jaffer, founder and executive director of the National Security Institute and former White House associate counsel to President George W. Bush, and David Carlucci, former Democrat New York State Senator. Thank you both, gentlemen, for joining me on what should have been a very joyous day with your families, and yet we're here talking about this horrible situation. Jamil, look, the vetting process, there's going to be so many questions about this, and I know that this guy was different. He was thoroughly vetted. He was considered an ally. He was considered one of these SIV applicants, very different from the planes full of people that we saw coming in. And he was vetted, you know, when he first came in here and then vetted again, I presume, I hope, when they gave him asylum earlier this year. What did we miss?
Well, Aisha, a few things. One, we don't know what happened in the vetting process when that disastrous withdrawal happened under the Biden administration, as we moved way too quickly to get our own troops out and then rushed to get our allies out, as Congressman Lawler correctly said, leaving a huge number of allies behind, leaving American citizens and green card holders behind. That was a disastrous withdrawal and what led to some of these things. Now, that being said, obviously, we either made a mistake in the vetting here, or he was radicalized once he came here, or perhaps, as President Trump himself said, maybe he just went crazy, right? We do know that being in the fight in these very tough situations sometimes causes people to have PTSD and other things. It's not an excuse, but it may be an explanation as to what happened to him. We don't know yet, and surely the administration now is going to run this down. They're going to figure out, was he in touch with any terrorists overseas? Was he radicalized there or here? Or did he just go crazy, lose his mind, and end up using his .357 Magnum on two American National Guard soldiers whose lives should be cherished? And obviously he should face a significant punishment, if not the death penalty, for what he's done here in D.C.
David, I want to play a soundbite from the president here, talking about how the shooter had been granted asylum under his administration. He was asked about that, and here's how he responded.
When it comes to asylum, when they're flown in, it's very hard to get them out. No matter how you want to do it, it's very hard to get them out. But we're going to be getting them all out now.
The question is, you know, when we all watched this together, you know, when the withdrawal happened, we saw how horrifically it was put together and how quickly things happened and how quickly things fell apart. And we saw, like, the images that we're looking at our screen right now. Should we have rushed this? Because it did feel like it was rushed. And many of these people went to lily pad countries and third countries to go get vetted. But what do we know? So many of these were young males that were just off the streets of Kabul that ran into planes and ran onto planes. I mean, should we have rushed it the way we did?
Well, absolutely not. Sorry about that.
If it was up to President Trump, we might still be in Afghanistan. He just passing the blame wherever possible. And look, we can't jump to conclusions. This is a horrific event. And of course, we mourn for what happened. But we've got to make sure that we don't have just a scapegoat instead of a real policy in how we fix these problems. President Trump even alluded to the fact that this might have been a form of mental illness. We just don't know. So going out and saying you're going to end asylum, you're going to stop refugees from coming into our country, you're going to review 235,000 green card holders. This is something that is just so knee-jerk that it really erodes trust that many of these green card holders, many immigrants in our country start to lose that trust. And that could cause a further problem in terms of cooperating with law enforcement, people going further underground, and being manipulated and abused. So it's really upsetting to see the president use this language, attacking the governor of Minnesota, even going after Somali refugees. The list never ends in terms of who the president can pass the blame to. But once you blame enough people, you've got to take responsibility and say what you're going to do. And just shutting the doors and kicking people out because they're from a certain country is not going to solve the problem. It's only going to make it worse.
Well, he's not just kicking anybody out, right? He's trying to kick criminals out. And the other part of it is, he said if we might still be in Afghanistan. You know, if we'd still had a presence in Afghanistan somewhat, we might actually know have a better idea of who these people are, and particularly this suspected shooter. We've run out of time. We've got to go, but we'll have you guys back. Thank you.